Am I audible? Is my screen visible? Please mention in the chat box. So in today's topic, we'll discuss about immunity, the various forms of immunity, various cells, organs involved in immunity, how it reacts when you are infected or when the body encounters any pathogen. Okay, how the body reacts. We'll discuss that in detail. Okay. These topics, only a certain aspect of this you will find in the chapter of diet in infections and immunity. Okay, in that chapter, certain aspects of this you will find. If you were confused, we'll try to clear the confusion here. Okay, so the basics of immunity, how the human immunity works, different types of immunity, active, passive, innate. Okay, all the different forms of immunity which you acquire throughout your life, how the body reacts. So if anyone is joining late, please help them with the topic name. This topic, the contents of this presentation will not be available in your textbook. It will be recorded and uploaded in the disease conditions playlist for you to refer back again whenever you are in doubt. So we'll start the session. So immunity, what is immunity? It refers to the body's ability to prevent the invasion of pathogens. Pathogens, what are pathogens? For people who are from the non-medical background, pathogens is a specific umbrella term which we use to describe any invaders, okay, like bacteria, virus, fungi, protozoa. Okay, all the foreign bodies, foreign organisms that are capable of causing infection, okay, causing a disease or an infection in a human body or even in any animal body, we call it as pathogen. Okay, pathogen is the term used for that. So pathogens are foreign disease causing substances such as bacteria, virus, protozoa, fungi, and even parasites. Okay, and people are exposed to pathogen on a daily basis. We live, breathe, eat pathogen on a daily basis, but not all of them give us disease. Okay, when you are out in the open, even within your house, everywhere bacteria is present, everywhere virus is present, but you are not getting infected because of all these foreign bodies. Okay, but the ones who are capable to give you disease, okay, the ones that are capable of causing infection, that's what we call as pathogens. The immune system is made up of different organs, cells, and proteins. They all work together hand in hand to keep the body healthy, free of infection. So when it comes to immunity, we have two major types of immunity: innate immunity, acquired immunity. Another name for innate immunity is natural or non-specific immunity. These immunity you have by birth. Why we call it as non-specific? Because they have only one method of action for everyone. Even if it is a bacteria, virus, protozoa, fungi, dust, any foreign particle, okay, their way of action is just one. They do not have specific actions for specific pathogens. No, they have just one action for all. So that's the reason why they are non-specific immunity. They don't differentiate. They just act as it is. Okay. And innate immunity, you are born with it. Okay, you are born with your salivary glands, you are born with the mucous membrane, you are born with your skin, hair. Okay, these are not the things that you acquire over your lifetime. You are born with it. An infant or a newborn is born with it, so that comes under innate immunity or natural immunity. Then we have acquired immunity or adaptive immunity. Acquired immunity is the one you get as you live along. You get from the breast milk of your mother. Okay, it is passed on to you. You get acquired immunity through your vaccinations, through immunoglobulin injections. Okay, you get infected by certain disease conditions like chicken pox, smallpox. Your body develops a memory against it, so that The second infection, whenever it happens, you are protected. The body memorizes the infection, you are protected. So that's adaptive immunity. So acquired and adaptive immunity, you are not born with it. You have to acquire this when you are living. Okay. When your life passes by, you acquire this immunity as you live on. Okay. So adaptive immunity can further be classified into natural, artificial. Okay, there are a little bit more classification to it. We will discuss this in detail about adaptive immunity. So till now, is the main difference of immunity clear to all? What is innate and what is acquired? The word meanings of this. One is the immunity you are born with. You are born with your bone marrow. You are born with your thymus gland. Okay, saliva, salivary glands, your tears. You're born with a stomach that is able to secrete hydrochloric acid. Okay, you are born with the respiratory system, which is lined with the mucous membrane. Mucus can trap the dust particles, can trap the virus, bacteria. Okay, so the things that you are born with, the parts of the immunity you are born with comes under innate immunity. The parts of the immunity you are not born with, you acquire it over a period of time as you live on. Okay, whatever age it could be, that's called the acquired immunity or adaptive immunity. Is it clear so far? So discussing a bit more on innate immunity, the immunity that you are born with. Okay, innate immunity is a general protection a person is born with. It includes the physical barrier like your skin, body, hair. Okay, your eyelashes prevent the dust from falling into your conjunctiva. Okay, so the eyelashes is also an innate immunity. Defense mechanism like gastric saliva. Gastric saliva is slightly acidic in nature. It has an enzyme called salivary amylase. Okay, it also gives you an immunity against certain pathogens. Okay, gastric acid, hydrochloric acid, which is present in your stomach, it will kill the organisms, any pathogenic organisms that enter your body through food. It can kill that bacteria or organisms then and there itself. Hydrochloric acid. Okay, you are born with it. The general immune response is like inflammation. Okay, simple thing that you can do even without any foreign particle. Okay, if you can take your nails right now, okay, and just scratch on your inside of your hand. Okay, the lighter, the softer part of your hand, the inside of the hand. Okay, if you just do a scratch, a deep scratch, just do that on your hand few times. What changes do you see within few seconds? Just take a nail of your right hand, and scratch a bit on the inside of your left hand. Okay, and wait for a few seconds. What changes do you see on the left hand now? Where you have scratched? Yes, it becomes red. The color difference is seen. Does it feel a bit more warmer temperature wise? Is it cold or hot? Redness is there, warmth is there. Do you find a slight swelling? Slight swelling is there. Okay, there will be a small tingling sensation, like a little bit of pain that lingers. Right, and this is a very mild inflammation that you caused. Right now what you see is called inflammation. What inflammation means is, wherever inflammation, like whenever we take name the term inflammation, sometimes people who are from a non-medical background, you will not understand what is inflammation. Right now what you see on your left hand is what we call the basics of inflammation. There is a change in color, redness, change in temperature, warmth. Okay, pain is there. edema is there, slight swelling is there. Okay, when inflammation goes to a little bit higher stage, loss of function. Okay, if this was just a scratch of nail, but if you have done it with a sharp object or something, you will lose the function of that particular area. It will not sweat. Usually the skin should sweat. It should produce sebum. The area which is scarred, where you get a scar, can it sweat? Can it produce sebum? Can it do its regular function? No. Okay. Edema means swelling. Inflammation means edema is a part of inflammation. Okay. Edema is a sign of inflammation. Edema along with redness, increased in temperature, loss of function, pain. Okay. These all are the 5 cardinal signs of inflammation. Now you understand what is inflammation. So a child is also born with this. Right now, the response you see on your left hand, how your body reacted, this is your innate immunity. Okay, this is an innate immunity. Everyone is born with this. Okay. So is it clear about what inflammation means? What are the signs of inflammation? What it means? Specifically from those who are from a non-medical background. So this is a non-specific immunity. You did with your nails, you do with something sharp. Okay, you take a piece of rough cloth and scratch yourself. Your body, your skin will respond in the very same manner. Okay, the body will not say, okay, you have done it with your own nails, so we will not respond. Okay, if it was somebody else's nails, we could have responded. Okay, no, the body, this is a non-specific way of how your body reacts. Okay, whatever you use to cause the same kind of situation on your left hand, using your any object, your nails, any harsh cloth, any scrub, body wipes or something, okay, which is harsh on your skin, your body will respond in the very same manner. So this is non-specific. It is not specific to any source. Okay, so this is inflammation. So inflammation, your skin, body hair, saliva, gastric acid, okay, mucous membrane, they all are part of your innate immunity. You are born with it. Okay, although the immune system does not know exactly what kind of antigen is invading the body, is it a bacteria, is it a virus, fungi, protozoa, parasite, but the response is very quick. You saw, as soon as you scratched your left hand with with your right nail, the response, how quickly your body respond to it. Within few seconds, you could see the changes happening on your left hand, right? So the response is very quick. Your innate immunity is very quick in responding. The immunity you're born with is very quick in responding. Within few seconds, within few minutes, it will start showing signs. Okay, even allergic reactions. Okay, the way how allergic reaction is over activation of your histamines. Okay, usually allergy takes place towards things that are not harmful to you, but your body considers them as harmful. Dust is not that harmful to dust is not supposed to cause any infections as such, but the body identifies it as something harmful, a foreign body, and your body creates certain responses immediately. It happens in seconds. Okay, when you have an allergic reaction, your body is not going to wait for 1 day or 2 days to show any reaction. As soon as you're exposed to your allergen, immediately within seconds your body will respond. Okay, so that is also part of your innate immunity. It responds very quickly, and it is very quick to defend your body against any pathogen. In the long term immunity, in which the body produces antibody on its own, that is called in the longer term. Okay, over a period of time, your body will learn how to make its own antibodies because of the presence of B cells. You are born with B cells. Okay, B cells and T cells is also part of innate immunity, but B cells over a period of time, they will try to memorize the pathogen. Okay, over a period of time, some parts of innate immunity will act as acquired immunity. Okay, so innate immune system, cells are non-responsive. Cells are non-specific. They attack everyone in the same manner. Okay, response is very fast. Within minutes, within hours, the response is, you will get the response. it has no memory because it is non-specific. Okay, only if it is a specific kind of immunity, it has a memory and it knows what to attack, what not to attack. Your innate immunity does not have any memory of what has come before and what is happening again and again. It will react and respond in the same way. Okay. So monocyte, macrophage, natural killer cells, neutrophils, mast cells, dendritic cells, eosinophil, basophil. Okay. Natural killer T cells becomes both innate immunity and adaptive as well, because you are born with it. T cells is something that you are born with, but over a period of time, when you are exposed to certain infections, okay, T cells will learn and memorize this pathogens. Okay, since you are born with certain amount of helper T cells and B lymphocytes, we consider it as a meeting point between innate immunity and adaptive immunity. Okay, since you are born with it, but over a period of time, when you are exposed to a lot of infections like chickenpox and all, helper T cells, B cells, they retain the memory of this pathogen. They make the antibodies specific to this pathogen, and to again, in the second time when you get exposed to chickenpox, these cells are ready. They become the adaptive immunity, and the body has adapted how to fight with this chickenpox for the second time, and you will not be getting any infection. Okay, so T cells, each one of this we will discuss in detail. Monocyte, macrophage, neutrophil, all these we will discuss in detail. But these are the part of your body which forms the majority of this. Majority of the innate immunity is found in your blood, WBCs. There are 5 main types of white blood cells. Okay, neutrophil, eosinophil, basophil. Okay, macrophage, they all are part of your, they are different types of your white blood cells. So majority of this innate immunity is found in your blood. Okay, these are immunity cells. They protect your body. Each one of them, how they function, we will discuss in the further slides. Okay. So types of barrier, there are 4 types of barrier. Barrier immunity is also part of innate immunity because you're born with it. Okay. Physical barrier, which includes your skin, body hair, cilia. Cilia is a finger-like projections that is present in your upper respiratory tract system, your trachea. Okay, you have cilia there. Cilia is supposed to secrete mucus, and it has a wave-like movement. Okay, because of which, if at all a dust particle comes inside your trachea, inside your windpipe, a specific movement of a cilia will propel the dust outside towards your upper respiratory system through mucus production, and it will be kicked out of your body. Okay, that's how cilia works. Cilia is like small finger-like projections which are present in the lining of your respiratory tract. Okay, eyelashes are also physical barrier. They physically protect your conjunctiva, your eyes, from getting accumulated with dust, any such thing. The respiratory tract, the gastrointestinal tract also, it secretes acid, it secretes enzymes. Okay, that can also kill the microbes. These form the first line of defense for your body. Your skin will definitely act as a physical barrier to the entry of pathogen. Your skin is one major barrier which is kind of in between the external environment and the internal environment. The only thing that the only barrier that forms between your inside body, internal environment, and the external environment, the only thing that is in between your internal environment and your external environment is your skin. So skin is your physical barrier. It prevents the entry of pathogen, apart from when it is wounded. Okay, when the skin is wounded, so definitely that portal is open and microbes can enter your body. Okay, the mucus coating of your nose, ear wax. Okay, these all are protective barriers which can trap the pathogen. It could be bacteria, fungi, virus, dust, anything, before it gets inside. That is the function of ear wax. That is the function of the mucus which is present in your inside the lining of your nose. Okay, these are physical barriers. Then we have physiological barrier. Your saliva secreted in the mouth, tears which are acidic in nature, which are secreted by your eyes, also have antibiotic property. It can, to an extent, it's not too strong. It's a very mild antibiotic property that your saliva and your tears have. Okay, that does not allow the growth of pathogens, even though the eye is open throughout the day. Okay, the eye is getting accumulated with a lot of pathogens inside the, which is present in your environment, but your eye is not getting infected on a daily basis. Okay, that is the presence of the tear which is covering your conjunctiva. Your mouth, whenever it is breathing or it is opening, whenever you eat food, okay, mouth is the first part through which the microbes are going to enter your body because of the presence of saliva. The salivary amylase enzymes present in saliva, minerals present in saliva, has an antibiotic kind of property which protects your further GI system and your body from microbes. So that is a physiological barrier. Cellular barrier. Leukocytes. Leukocytes are the other name for your WBC, white blood cells. Okay. Leukocytes, neutrophils, lymphocytes, basophils, eosinophil, monocytes. Okay, we will discuss each one of them in detail. All these cells are present in the blood and the tissues. Okay, they are circulated throughout the body through blood, and they're also present in tissues. Okay, they are there to identify any invader. If even if they have crossed the physical barrier, they have crossed the physiological barrier, and now they are out and about into the cells or inside the bloodstream. Anyhow they got inside the bloodstream, or anyhow they got inside the body at the cellular level. Now it will be the time for these leukocytes, neutrophils, lymphocytes to be on action. Okay, how they destroy the cells, we will discuss later. Cytokine barrier. Each, in case the cell of in our body experience a viral invasion, specifically viral invasion, viral infection, it automatically secretes proteins called interferons. Your cells will secrete this protein called interferon, which forms a coating around the infected cell. Just imagine one particular cell is infected by a virus. This cell will secrete this protein called interferon, and this protein will completely cover the entire infected cell. And because of this covering, this covering means it's also a barrier, right? So this barrier will prevent the other cells from getting infected. So only this one particular cell will be infected, and it creates a covering because of which the virus should not create its copies and try and infect other cells. Okay, so that is one of the cytokine barrier that happens at a cellular level. Okay, so these are the 4 different types of barriers you are born with. This is not something given to you. This everyone is born with. Okay, is it clear to all the 4 different types of barrier found in innate immunity? Coming to the cells that are involved in innate immunity. First is your phagocytes. Phagocytes, I guess you must be, you must have heard about this particular cell, even in certain classes, even in like school times, phagocytes. So these circulate throughout your body, and they are always in search for some foreign substance. And as soon as they come in contact with a foreign substance or a bacteria, of dust, any foreign toxin as well, okay, they create an arm around the substance, and they completely engulf the substance inside it. Once the substance is inside the phagocyte is a cell. Okay, phagocyte. Okay, digesting cells. Phago means digesting, cyte means cell. So as soon as they come in contact with a bacteria or a virus or a dust or any foreign object or toxin, okay, they engulf that entire substance within themselves, and they will create, they have these enzymes, lysosomes within the phagocytes. Lysosomes will secrete enzymes that is going to break down lysosomes. Okay, they're going to secrete the proteins that will cause the lysis of this toxin or the bacteria or the virus. Okay, so that's how they defend your body against pathogen. They digest it, they swallow the entire substance, and once the entire substance is within these cells, they kill it using a enzyme called using these pockets called lysosomes. Lysosomes will secrete certain proteins that will create the lysis. Lysis means breakdown of the substance that they have engulfed. So that's how phagocytes work. Then we have macrophages. You can see the image of macrophage here. So these have the ability to move across the walls of circulatory system. Okay, from they are usually found inside the blood vessels. Okay, but they can, as soon as they detect an infection that has taken place in other cells, okay, they can move inside through the walls of the blood vessels, and they can get out of the blood vessel and directly go and attack the infective agents. Okay, they release certain signals called cytokines to recruit other cells at the site of infection. So macrophages are able to move. They are in the blood circulation. Macrophages are in the blood circulation, but they have the ability to move across the walls of the circulatory system, that is the blood vessels. They're inside, in one moment they're inside the blood vessels, the other moment they're outside the blood vessels, wherever they have identified a infection. And as soon as the macrophages reaches the place of infection, they will release this proteins called cytokines, and with the release of cytokines, all the other innate immunity cells will be triggered. They will come to the place of infection to take care of the infective agent. Okay, so that is how macrophages work. Then we have mast cells. Mast cells are very important in wound healing. Okay, because whenever a wound healing is taking place, pus formation takes place, right? That is the function of mast cells. Okay, when the mast cells are actively eating up all the bacteria and dust from the wound that is healing, okay, the mast cells are taking care of all the, when the wound is exposed to the outer environment, you can expect a lot of dust, bacteria, virus, or any other compounds entering the skin through that wound. So mast cells are present to do the scavenging. Scavenging means to take care of all the foreign object and take it out of the system. So that's how whenever you get a pus formation, whenever a wound is healing and you're getting a pus formation, that's the function of the mast cells. It means the mast cells are killing all the pathogens that have entered. That is the pus formation. Okay. Then we have neutrophils. They contains granules that are toxic in nature to kill any pathogen that comes in contact. So when we talk about leukocytes means your white blood cells. Okay, white blood cells are two types: granulated and non-granulated. Okay, so granulated cells means, you can see here, if you can notice in the image of the neutrophil, okay, they have these small black spots. Is it visible to all? Small spots are present. Even in eosinophils, certain spots are present. Mast cells, basophils, natural killer cells, with small granules are present. So this makes the WBCs granulated. Okay, so these are the granules which are very toxic in nature to a foreign body. As soon as a foreign body comes in contact with these granules, it automatically dies off. Okay, there are a lot of chemical reaction, a lot of pathophysiology goes into it. You don't have to know about that in detail. Okay, just understand how neutrophil kills the bacteria. It is because of the presence of these granules. Okay. Then eosinophils, these also contain highly toxic proteins. in the same form of granules. Eosinophils also have the same granules. They contain highly toxic proteins that can kill any bacteria or parasite that comes in contact. Basophils, they attract multicellular parasites like mast cells and then release histamine. Basophils are, if you are a person who has a lot of allergy, whenever you do a blood test, or whenever recently if you had an allergic reaction, when you do a blood test, your basophil level will be quite high. Okay, so basophil is something that releases histamine even when you are exposed to an allergen that you are allergic to. Okay, that is when the basophil is reactive. Okay, and they attack multicellular parasite, means bacteria and virus, they are single cellular, they are just single cells. Okay, multicellular parasites means organisms that have more than one cell. Okay, parasites are also they come under this category of multicellular organism. Bacteria, virus, fungi, they are single cellular. Okay, protozoas are also single cellular, but they can proliferate. One protozoa can proliferate into major protozoa, other many protozoas through daughter cells. Okay, and through an asexual reproduction, they can differentiate. Okay, so they all are single cellular organism. Basophils is a kind of blood white blood cell that can kill multicellular parasite as well. They can attack multicellular parasite. So organisms that have more than one cells. Just like mast cells, they can also release histamine. Any organism which has more than one cell. Okay, any organism that has more than one cell, that comes under multicellular parasites. Then we have natural killer cell, NK cell, you can see here on the image. They stop the spread of infection by destroying the infected host cells. Okay. T cells also function in the same way. T cells, rather than attacking the infection causing agent like a bacteria, virus, fungi, protozoa, whatever, they directly go and destroy the cell that has been infected. Okay, along with the cell, the infective agent will also go. Okay, that's how natural killer cell works. They go and kill the entire cell that is infected. Okay, infected host cells. If the eosinophils is high, means you have, your body is in a state of allergic reaction. High histamine level, it means you have a you are in a stage of allergic reaction, or you just had an allergic reaction. Then we have dendritic cells. So these are usually you will find them in your nervous system, brain, spinal cord, in the nervous system. They're located in the tissues that are points of initial infections, and these cells can sense infection and send message to the rest of the immune system by antigen presentation. Okay, even your helper T cells, we will discuss that in the coming up slide. They also function in the same way. As soon as the B cell is able to attack the antigen or cover the antigen, a presentation of antigen is shown. For example, just imagine a situation when a thief has been identified by someone. Okay, not a police or a normal person has identified the face of a thief. Now they will go to the police station, they will make a photocopies of that, the face of the thief, and they will project it everywhere, to the media, everywhere. This is the face of the thief, we have to attack them. Okay, a similar kind of situation is what dendritic cells also do. They present the antigen as it is, and the message is sent, this is the antigen we have to attack. Okay, so that is the function of dendritic cells. They usually are present in the place where infections take place for the first time. For example, your respiratory tract. Okay, your blood vessels. So wherever the areas look and the tissues where infections happen for the first time, the first sites of infection, dendritic cells are present to make an antigen presentation and sent message to the entire immune system that this is the antigen you have to look out for and come and attack this particular antigen. Okay, so that is the function of dendritic cells. So these are all the components of innate immunity. All these cells that we have discussed is what you find in the blood vessels, in the lymphatic system, okay, in the body. Even if you're as soon as you're born, you are born with all these cells innate. Okay, so this is what makes an innate immunity. Is it clear to all? Now coming to acquired immunity. Histamine is a chemical that is released from the mast cells and the eosinophils. Okay, histamine is not a cell, it's a chemical that is released. Acquired immunity or adaptive immunity. So is the immunity that your body acquires or gains over the period of time. Unlike innate immunity, it is not present by birth. The ability of the immune system to adapt itself to disease and to generate pathogen-specific immunity. Okay, this is the main difference between innate and acquired. In acquired, you are generating pathogen-specific immunity. Okay. For coronavirus, you have a specific antibody. For chickenpox, you have a specific antibody. For smallpox, your body has a specific antibody. Mumps, rubella, okay, measles, your body has a specific antibody. So these all are acquired immunity. Your body creates a copies of these antibodies to attack whenever the new infection happens or you're exposed to the same infection again. Okay, so this is pathogen specific. Innate immunity was non-specific. Okay. Antigen and pathogen are the same. So our body starts producing antibodies to engulf the pathogen and destroy its antigen. Okay. Pathogens create these antigen is kind of a receptor cells which is around the pathogen. Pathogen is the bacteria, virus. Okay, they have specific antigens, and our body has to create a specific antibody that can attach to the antigen. Okay, there it should be like two puzzles coming together. Half of the puzzle is with the pathogen, that is called antigen. The other half of the puzzle, the antibody puzzle, we have to form in a specific shape and size that fits the antigen like a puzzle. Okay, is it clear to all? What is antibody, what is antigen, what is pathogen? Pathogens can only bring antigen. Okay, you can use the term interchangeably. So both, you have to imagine antibodies and antigen as puzzle pieces, two puzzle pieces coming together. Okay, half of the puzzle piece is with the pathogen that in the form of antigen receptors. We have to create the antibodies exactly in the same size, shape, structure, and in chemical bond in such a way that they fit each other together and they negate the antibodies. As soon as they fit the antigen, they negate the antigen from causing further harm. Okay. When our body encounters an antigen or a pathogen for the first time, it is called primary response. When the child is getting an infection for the first time, that is a primary response. Once the body gets used to these pathogens, antibodies are ready to attack them for the second time. And the second time, when the antibodies are attacking these pathogens, we call it as a natural acquired immunity. When the first time you get chickenpox, when a child gets chickenpox for the first time, that is a primary response. Okay. Tomorrow again the child goes to school, somebody else is getting chickenpox, the child is also exposed to the pathogen of chickenpox. Okay, but the child will not get chickenpox for the second time because the body has triggered its natural acquired immunity, which has the antibodies ready to take down the chickenpox pathogen. Okay, so that's how primary response is different from natural acquired immunity. Primary response means the first time when you get infected with a new organism, okay, that is a primary response. The first time, if any one of you had suffered COVID-19, okay, that was the first time, it becomes your primary response. The second time, the symptom must have been much less. So is it clear about acquired immunity, the introduction to acquired immunity or adaptive immunity? Coming to the features of acquired immunity, specific ability to differentiate, specificity, one feature. It has a specific ability to differentiate between the different types of pathogen, if it is harmful or not harmful, and it has specific ways to destroy them. The way in which your acquired immunity will destroy a bacteria would be slightly different from how it tackles a virus or a fungi or a protozoa. Okay, for each different types of pathogen, it has devised a specific way to destroy it. Okay, and it can also identify, is this pathogen or is this foreign body harmful or not. Okay, so your allergic reactions are never a part of acquired immunity, because the acquired immunity has this capability of identifying if it is an allergen. Your innate immunity will take care of it, because the acquired immunity does not see the allergen as a harmful pathogen. Okay, diversity. Your acquired immunity is able to detect a vast variety of pathogen, ranging from protozoas to viruses, to different forms of viruses, different levels of protozoas, different narrow spectrum, broad spectrum bacteria. Okay, all these diverse organisms can be identified and detected by your acquired immunity as a foreign body, as a pathogenic body. Differentiate between self and non-self. The ability to identify its own cells from the foreign cells. So this is one of the reasons why not every cases of transplantation, organ transplantation, works. Okay, because even if the donor receptors and tissue or everything is matching, but your acquired immunity is so smart that it can definitely identify its own tissue, the own body's tissue and the other body's tissue. Okay, and in cases when an organ transplantation fails, because the immunity, it becomes an autoimmune kind of a situation where its own immunity or the person's own body is rejecting the organ. It's usually the acquired immunity that has rejected the tissue. It has identified this is not the part of our body, this has come from a foreign person. Okay, so that is one ability of it is kind of a boon and bane. For a healthy individual, it's a boon, but a person who has undergone transplantation, for them it becomes a bane. Okay, so the ability to differentiate between its own cells and a foreign cell, even if the cells are same, but the origin is from another source, it can your acquired immunity can definitely identify it. Okay, then the fourth feature is memory. Once the acquired immunity has encountered a pathogen, it activates the immune system to completely destroy it. But after destruction also, it remembers the antibodies, what antibodies I have used to destroy this pathogen. That antibodies are registered for your entire life. So your acquired immunity has the memory, okay, on what kind of antibodies was used for this particular infection. And tomorrow, if it happens again, the acquired immunity knows which specific antibodies it has to release to take care of the infection without causing any signs and symptoms to the host body. Okay. So this is, so next time, if the same pathogen enters, the same procedure of destruction will be followed without causing much signs and symptoms to the, or any difficulties to the host body. Okay. So these are the specific features of acquired immunity. You don't find these features in innate immunity. Is it clear to all? So cells involved in acquired immunity is B cells and T cells. B cells are supposed to attack the invaders, the foreign bodies that are coming and attacking you. But the T cells will go and attack the infected cells, the whole cell. Okay, along with the invader, the cell which are infected, that will also go. Okay, through the series of apoptosis. Apoptosis means cell death, cell suicide. Okay, that is what T cells lead to. But B cells will not harm the human host cells. Okay, it will only go and attack the foreign invaders. Am I audible now? So B cells will attack cells which are involved mainly in acquired immunity are T cells and T cells. B cells will attack the foreign body that have invaded your system, but they will not cause any harm to the healthy cells or the infected cells. T cells will take care of that. T cells will not just harm the invaders, the foreign bodies, but they will also kill the cells which have been infected by these foreign bodies. Okay, both will be gone. So that's how different they are. Further classification and differentiation. B cells, why we call them B cells? They develop in bone marrow. Okay, that's the reason why. B for bone marrow, B for B cells. These cells are activated on their encounter with foreign agents. As soon as a foreign particle enters the body, okay, they have foreign markers on them. Okay, these foreign markers is what we call as antigen as well, antigen receptors. Okay, so because of these foreign markers present, the B cells will immediately differentiate into the plasma cells. Plasma cells will go and make more B cells. Okay, B cells will get like one plasma cells will become 4 to 8 to 16 B cells. Okay, and they produce antibodies very specific to these foreign markers. Okay, as I have told earlier, when the foreign particle enters the body, they have these foreign markers, receptors, antigen receptors. Now we have to make the puzzle piece that fits these markers very well. Okay, so immediately the B cells are on their work. They differentiate into plasma cells. They produce antibodies very specific to the foreign particle, foreign markers, which we call as antigen. So these antibodies go and attach to the surface of the foreign marker or the antigen or the foreign agent that has come. Exactly, it will fit them like a puzzle piece. Now, when the antibodies have they got stuck on this antigen, on these foreign markers, this is when the presentation begins. Okay, once the antibodies have registered themselves along with the antigen, the presentation begins. Now the entire body is triggered. Once the antibodies have latched themselves on the antigen, now the presentation of this will be given through various chemicals, through various cell-mediated methods to all the immunity cells in the body, that this is an foreign body, this is an antigen. Okay, we have made a puzzle piece of it. We have made the antibodies for it. Come and attack it. Come and take it out of the system. Okay, so these antibodies can detect any antigen in the body and they can destroy it through this mechanism. So immunity dependent on B cells is called humoral immunity. Okay, your body is able to, your B cells are able to produce antibodies which are very capable of copying, or they are very capable of molding themselves into such shape and structure which can fit the antigen so perfectly and create a presentation of it in such a way that the entire body comes to know that a foreign body has invaded. It looks like this. These are the specific markers on them. As soon as we find these markers anywhere in the body, it has to be destroyed. So this is what humoral immunity does. We have two types of immunity in acquired immunity. One is humoral immunity. So the main hero in humoral immunity is your B cells. The main hero in the cell-mediated immunity is the T cells. We will see that as well. So T cells, when I show you the diagrammatic picture of the entire humoral immunity process, you will understand it better. Okay, this is just the paraphrase part of it. T cells, they originate in the bone marrow and they develop in the thymus. That's the reason why they are called T cells from the gland, thymus gland. T for thymus gland, T for T cells. Both of them originate, B cells and T cells, both of them will originate in bone marrow. But the places where they develop, okay, that is different. B cells will develop in bone marrow. T cells will develop in the thymus gland. Okay. So T cells differentiate into helper T cells and cytotoxic T cells. There are two types of T cells, helper T cells and cytotoxic T cells. Okay, and these cells are released into the bloodstream. Okay, once you are born with, or once you are in a childhood, okay, thymus is a gland. Thymus is a gland. Okay, it's only active until your childhood. As soon as you grow into the teenager and become an adult, it becomes inactive. When a baby is born, the baby is born with a large thymus gland. Thymus gland is a part of the body which shrinks as you grow. As you get older and older, it shrinks, and after a point of time, it becomes inactive. Okay, so the amount of T cells that you have in your childhood, okay, until and unless your thymus gland is completely inactive, that is the number of T cells you will have throughout your life. There is no other way you will get more T cells. Okay, is it clear? So T cells, once they are developed, they differentiate into either helper T cells, cytotoxic T cells, and some very less amount regulatory T cells are also available. Okay, so they are directly released into the bloodstream. Okay, from the thymus gland, it develops and released into the bloodstream. And as soon as the T cells find the antigen, specifically the B cells have attached themselves through the antibody, they have attached themselves to the antigen. The presentation has been given to the helper T cells. Okay, helper T cells know what this antigen looks like, what chemical it can release. Okay, the helper T cells will release cytokines that act as messengers. The cytokines will go and tell the B cells to make more antibodies. Okay, as soon as the presentation is given to the helper T cells, helper T cells will make more cytokines. Cytokines will go and tell the B cells to differentiate more, make more antibodies. Okay, release more antibodies into the plasma, into the bloodstream, so that there may be more of foreign bodies coming up, more copies of virus or a bacteria coming up. We have to attack them as well. Okay, so B cells will create more differentiation. They will break more. Okay, and they will make more antibodies into the bloodstream. Okay, and then finally the antibodies are also present. Cytotoxic helper T cells have done their job of creating more antibodies with the help of B cells, and now cytotoxic T cells are there. Cytotoxic T cells, from the name itself you will know they are ready to kill. Okay, they can kill cancer cells, they can also kill infected cells. Okay, cytotoxic T cells, these T cells are toxic to your own body. These T cells are toxic to your own body. Cytotoxic, poisonous to your own cell. So they are poisonous not to healthy cells, but cancerous cells, infected cells, any cell that has undergone certain mutation, inflammation. Okay, so these cells will go and destroy that entire cell. T cells are not going to kill any invader or any foreign body. They are more focused on taking care of the entire cell that got infected. Okay, regulatory T cells, they have just the one function to regulate the immune reaction, so that the body does not go into a state of autoimmune responses. Okay, so these are the functions of B cells and T cells. T cells do not directly attack only the invading foreign body like bacteria, virus. T cells are not responsible for attacking it. It's the B cells who are attacking them. Okay, but T cells will go and attack and kill the entire cell that has been infected by the foreign body. So is it clear between B cell and T cell? What is the main difference? There are people who are producing a lot of cancerous cells within their body, a lot of genetic mutation, even as we speak at cellular level. A lot of genetic mutations are taking place in our body, but it is because of these healthy T cells that are present in our immunity that even before it turns into a malignant cancer cell, the helper T cells are taking care of it. It does not mean that the people who are detected with cancer, their body does not have T cells. They also have T cells, but cancer does not happen because of this particular one reason. There are various environmental factors and internal factors, specifically the predispository factors. Okay, like what kind of gene you have inherited from your family. Okay, that also plays a very crucial role in determining your chances of cancer. So there are two types of acquired immune response, humoral immune response and cell-mediated immune response. Both of them we will see in detail. Humoral response, this is where the B cells are main. Okay. As soon as a B cell is triggered when it encounters its matching antigen, antigen has entered the body. Okay. Now the B cell is triggered. As soon as the B cell is triggered, it engulfs the entire antigen and digests it. You can see here this small yellow flower that you see. Okay, the small yellow flower you can see, that consider them as a bacteria, virus. Okay, and this entire blue segment, that's the B cell. As soon as the B cell has detected an antigen, you can see here it has identified an antigen which fits perfectly to its receptor. Okay, which the B cell's receptor, the antigen is fitting perfectly to the B cell receptor. It has identified this as a foreign body, and now what will happen? It will completely engulf it. This is how the B cell engulf it from both the side. It will raise its the cell structure will change in such a way that it surrounds the antigen, surrounds the virus completely, and it forms a closure. And the virus has or the antigen has no other way than to stay inside the B cell. Once it is inside the B cell will release the lysis protein, okay, enzymes that will cause the breakdown. So here you can see how the foreign body has been broken down. Okay, is it visible to all? Is the image clear to all on screen? Here the antigen was a complete structure. Once it was engulfed, digested, it was completely swallowed up by the B cell. How it has broken down into small pieces. This is because of the lysosomes secreting the enzymes that causes the enzymes that cause the breakdown. Okay, so because of this this image, you will understand how the B cells function better. MCH is a more medical term. Okay, major histocompatibility complex. Okay, it's kind of a DNA. It's very similar to a DNA that is present. It's a genetic factor that is involved in immunity as well. You don't have to go into that detail. Okay. And because of the MCH is why, as I mentioned now, like the presentation. See, this is a virus. This is a foreign body. Attack it. This is not part of our body. Okay, this message B cells has to pass on to helper T cells. It's because of MCH, because of this genetic factor, in the DNA, because of the help of this MCH, this presentation can be done. That's what you have to understand. Okay, don't go into much detail of it because it will get more complex. For autoimmune diseases, immunosuppressant will be given. Medications which may suppress the activity of T cells will be given. And symptomatic management has to be done. So once the breakdown of the foreign body has been done in the B cell, it displays the antigen fragment bound to its unique MCH molecules. The MCH molecule is the one responsible for this presentation. This is a molecule. This is a fragment of the antigen. If you find this chemical anywhere in the body, attack it. So that presentation, that message has been passed. So this combination of antigen and MCH, okay, it attracts helper T cells, which is mature helper T cells. They will come. They will take this message. They will take the fragments of the of this foreign body, and they will go and find the cells that have been infected by this specific chemical. Okay, because even in the cells you will find the same chemical that has been broken down. Okay, so this the helper T cells will pass this message to the cytotoxic T cells. That T cells will go and attack the entire cell as it is. Those cells which are infected by the same virus, the message that the T cells have got from the B cells. Okay, so this is a foreign body. These are the fragments of the foreign body. If you find something very similar to this anywhere in the cells, go and attack and destroy it. So the T cells will do rest of the work. Okay. So is it clear how humoral response works in the human body, how B cells work in the human body? Even after they have done this lysis, even after they have engulfed and digested the antigen, the B cells work don't end here. They have to pass this message to the helper T cells. Okay. Usually, if the digestion is done, the work is done, but it does not end here. They have to give the presentation to the. They have to give this report, this presentation to the helper T cells, and helper T cells will go and inform it to the cytotoxic T cells to kill the cells which are infected by the same foreign body. Is it clear to all, the humoral response? B cells kill the foreign particles. B cells are killing the particle, but after killing the foreign particle, after digesting it, they give the fragments of information to the helper T cells. Okay. Next is your cell-mediated. Next is your cell-mediated immune response. So humoral response we have discussed just now. You can see this here. Foreign body has come in. Okay, macrophages have engulfed it. B cells have engulfed it, and they have released the fragments. And with the help of fragments, B cells have formed the antibody, and antibodies are ready. Antibodies will go and attack the foreign body as it is. Okay, foreign body will be taken care of the B cells. But things are a little more complex when it comes to cell-mediated immune response. So here it is initiated by the helper T cells. So as soon as the macrophages, as I mentioned, macrophages are able to pass through the blood vessels, go to the places wherever infection has taken place. They will engulf the entire, the macrophages will engulf the entire foreign body. They will create the presentation of it. They will create the message to it. They will create the message, and they will bring all the helper T cells, the B cells, the cytokines, everyone will be brought where the infection is. Okay. And from there, B cells will do its work. Helper T cells will receive the message from the B cells, and helper T cells will go and give the message to the cytokines. So after helper T cells has received the message from the B cells, it will release cytokines. The cytokines will activate the cytotoxic T cells. This cytotoxic T cells will go and completely destroy the virally infected cells. Okay, that's how the function happens. The only thing that is common here is as soon as a foreign body enters the body, as soon as the macrophages have identified, macrophages are usually the first point, your first innate immunity cells that identifies that something is fishy, something is wrong, something foreign has entered. As soon as the macrophages have identified a foreign body, immediately it will send the cytokines and signals to bring all the B cells, helper T cells to the same site. Come here and see what's happening. B cells will immediately make the antibody, which represents the antigen which has invaded. Okay, it will get bound to the antigen, digest it, and make it into fragments, give the fragment presentation to helper T cells. Helper T cells will identify the fragment presentation, release cytokines. Cytokines will activate the cytotoxic T cells. Till that time, until and unless the cytokines are released, cytotoxic T cells will not be active. Okay, cytotoxic T cells can only be active when the cytokines are released by the helper T cells. Okay, only then it can go and attack the infected cells. Otherwise, if the cytokines are released even without any infection, or if the cytotoxic T cells are getting activated without cytokines, that's when you get an autoimmune disease. Okay, unwantedly the T cells are going and attacking your healthy cells for no reason at all, even without cytokines, or if with too much of cytokines in the body, that could also lead to autoimmune disorders. So is it clear how cell-mediated immune response works? So coming to acquired immunity that develops over a period of time. Two types of immunity: active immunity and passive immunity. Active immunity in acquired immunity is natural and artificial. It develops in response to an infection or vaccination. Okay, that is active immunity. So in active acquired immunity, natural antibodies are developed whenever you are exposed to an infection. For example, a child getting chicken pox, smallpox. Okay, so that is a natural way of getting infection. and naturally the body will produce antibodies against it. So naturally, you're not born with it. No child is born with an antibody for chickenpox. Okay. Only and if the child is infected, gets an infection of mumps, rubella, measles, chickenpox, okay, only then the child's body is able to produce these antibodies to fight the infection. So that is a natural way of getting infection. Naturally you got the infection, naturally your body produces the antibodies. So that's a natural active immunity or natural acquired immunity. Artificial vaccinations, okay, BCG vaccination against tuberculosis, polio vaccination against against polio, and then mumps, rubella, MMR vaccination against mumps, rubella, and measles. Okay, so COVID vaccinations to protect you against the series of infection of coronavirus. Okay, so these are vaccinations. Live attenuated viruses. Live attenuated viruses are given through vaccination to the body. Artificially, you get this. You naturally, nobody gets it. It's a vaccination. It is introduced inside your body purposefully. So it's artificially made. Okay, vaccinations are artificially made. These viruses are artificially made. They're introduced inside your body, and then you get infection. Your body stays in a not a severe but a very mild infection, but the body is able to make antibody out of it and protect you for the rest of your life. So that is the artificial way of giving acquired immunity. Coming to passive immunity, develops after you receive antibodies from someone or somewhere else. Okay, here the antibodies you are not producing. In active immunity, your body is producing antibody naturally or even through artificial sources, but antibodies are developed by your own capability, by your body's own capability in natural and artificial ways. Okay, either you are getting infected, your body produces antibodies. You are exposed to a vaccination, your body produces antibodies. Okay, in active immunity, your body is the one actively producing antibodies. But in passive immunity, your body is not producing antibodies at all. Even the antibodies has to be given to you. Infection is not given to you. Directly the antibodies is given to you, either by someone or from somewhere else. Who is the someone? Is the mother who is doing the breastfeeding. Through breast milk, antibodies are given to the child. Antibodies that the child receives from the mother. The child does not have to wait for an infection to happen to get these antibodies. No. Naturally, through this natural physiological process of lactation, through breastfeeding, the mother gives the antibodies to the child. Okay, so child is getting ready-made antibodies. The child's body is not producing these antibodies. Child is getting ready-made antibodies from the mother's body. Okay. Second is immunological injection. This is not vaccination. In vaccination and these artificial antibodies given by globulin injection or immunoglobulin injection, it's completely different. In vaccination, you are introducing live attenuated viruses. Here you're not giving any virus, you're directly giving antibodies. Okay, antibodies which are either synthetically made or antibodies that are taken out from an infected person's blood group. For example, the people who initially had coronavirus, they had COVID infection, they recovered from the COVID infection on their own. Okay, their blood samples were taken. Their blood samples already had the antibodies to fight against COVID-19. Okay, so that these immunoglobulins, where these antibodies were separated from the blood and immunoglobulin injections were made, and directly people who are more susceptible to the COVID-19 cases, they were given these naturally prepared antibodies. Okay, so here ready-made antibodies either through the mother's body, which is natural way. Okay, this is not artificial. You're not making breast milk in a laboratory. A human body is making it. It's a natural process. So it's a natural passive immunity. Natural antibodies are passed on to onto a child through the mother. Physiological process, so natural process. In artificial, nothing is natural here. You are making the antibodies in the laboratory, synthesizing it out of a blood sample. Okay, putting it into an injection and then giving it to the people who are at high risk. Okay. So that is the immunoglobulin injection or infusion. So is it clear to all? Immunization is, when we talk about universal immunization, it has a list of medications which are not just vaccinations. Okay, even when we talk about immunization, giving vitamin K, vitamin K is not a vaccination. Vitamin K is an injection. Giving vitamin K at birth is also a part of universal immunization schedule. Okay, vaccination, it always means live attenuated virus. Immunization has a variety of it. Okay, immunization has a variety of it. You include vaccines also in it. Other vitamin injections are also are added into it. Okay, and you have a schedule of it, when and how and at what age which vaccination has to be given. Okay, so that comes under the immunization schedule. And even giving them this uh, immunoglobulin injection is also a part of immunization, because you are creating immunity here through vaccination or through this injection. You are adding on to the immunity. So the terminology will serve the purpose, will serve the same purpose here as well. So what is autoimmunity? Sometimes the immune system attacks its own tissues and organs instead of a foreign agent. This is what we call as autoimmunity. For example, type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disorder. Okay. Multiple sclerosis, as somebody has mentioned in the comments, that is also a autoimmune disorder. So what happens here is either B lymphocyte or T lymphocyte. B lymphocyte made by the bone marrow, it makes antibodies which will react to your own self. It will attack your own body. It will consider your own tissues or cells as antigens. It will attack your own body. Okay, that's an autoimmune disease. And even T lymphocytes will go and attack its own cells, considering it as infectious. Okay, and it will also lead to autoimmune diseases. So this is an autoimmunity or autoimmune diseases. Medical care has to be taken here. Nutritionally, not much can be done for autoimmune diseases. You can have more in anti-inflammatory diets, antioxidant-rich diets. That is something that you can do nutritionally. But nutrition cannot cure any autoimmune diseases. You will have to take a medical management for it under the guidance of a doctor. So vaccines are made up of antigens of pathogen that cause a disease. Okay, and vaccinating pathogenic microbes into our body deliberately, purposefully, we produce a similar response in our immunity that will happen when you're infected as well. When you naturally get an infection and when you are vaccinated, what happens inside your body, the response is very similar. The way how your immunity is going to react, respond, or act is very similar. Either it is purposefully, deliberately given to you, or you naturally acquired an infection. Okay, so the response is very similar in both the cases. So immunization is a process of providing resistant to pathogenic microbes and other infectious diseases by administration of vaccine inside the body. By immunization, it will stimulate the body's immune system to protect the body against subsequent infection of the disease. That is the purpose of vaccination. Okay. Yeah, Hashimoto's disease. Hashimoto's disease is an autoimmune disorder. Coming to the immune system, these are the major organs and the tissues that make up your immune system. Your tonsils, your adenoids, lymph nodes. Lymph nodes are present in various parts of your body, near your tonsils, near your neck region, your auxiliary region, that is your underarms, your inguinal region, okay, near your intestine, called Peyer's patches. Inguinal region, that is where you usually get the hernias, that near your, where your thighs connect your to your pelvis, okay. Appendix, bone marrow, lymphatic vessels, lymph nodes, spleen, okay, they all, thymus gland, they all are the different parts of your immune system or lymphatic system. It depends on what kind of autoimmune disorder you are suffering from. Different autoimmune disorders, based on which organ has been affected, which organ cells have been affected, will produce different symptoms, signs and symptoms. Yeah, in Hashimoto's, the thyroid gland is affected, the thyroid cells are affected. So definitely it will create issues like hypothyroidism. Your autoimmune system or your immunity is going and attacking the thyroid cells. So definitely the thyroid cells are getting destroyed. When the thyroid cells get destroyed, you will be left with very less amount of healthy thyroid cells that can produce thyroid hormones. Okay, so you go into a state of hypothyroidism. So depending on which part of your body is getting affected by this autoimmune response, you will have different form of reactions and symptoms. Type 1 diabetes is autoimmune disease. Type 2 diabetes is not an autoimmune disease. For example, in type 1 diabetes, your pancreas are getting affected. Pancreatic cells are getting affected by your T cells, and your own immune system is going and attacking the pancreatic cells, destroying the pancreatic cells in type 1 disease, type 1 diabetes, juvenile diabetes. Okay, what happens here? Pancreatic cells are gone. You are left with only very few pancreatic healthy cells, not enough to produce enough amount of insulin. Okay, so that's why from a very young age, you will be insulin dependent. Okay, so which part of the body is affected by an autoimmune disorder, that will determine what will be the signs and symptoms. So lymphoid organs involved in defending your body against invading pathogens, causing infections, or the spread of tumors. Okay, they are called lymphoid organs. Why tumors? Because T lymphocytes are T cells are involved in curbing all the cancerous cells. Okay, it includes bone marrow, blood vessels, lymph nodes, lymphatic vessels, thymus gland, spleen, various other clusters of lymphoid tissues. Lymphoid organs are the site of origin, maturation, and proliferation of lymphocytes. They exist in primary, secondary, and tertiary lymphoid organs. We will discuss the primary, secondary, and tertiary ones. So lymphoid organs are the area where lymphocytes are getting B lymphocytes, T lymphocytes, they get matured. Okay. And then the highest percentage of lymphocytes are present in the white blood cells, in the leukocytes. See, another name for white blood cells is leukocytes. So highest amount of lymphocytes are present in your blood circulation. That's the conclusion. So your primary lymphoid organs, they produce and allow the maturation of lymphocytes. For example, your bone marrow and thymus. Okay, where it is produced, both the T lymphocytes and B lymphocytes are produced in bone marrow, but where they develop and mature is different places. T lymphocytes develop in thymus gland, and the B lymphocytes will develop in the bone marrow. Okay, so it also serves by generating lymphocytes from mature progenitor cells, that is the stem cells. Okay, from the stem cells, B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes will mature, and they get matured in different parts of the body. Okay, and these different parts are called the primary lymphoid organ, where production and maturation takes place. Secondary lymphoid organs, these are involved in promoting the sites of interaction of lymphocytes, where the interaction has to take place of antigen with the antibody. Okay, they initiate the adaptive immune response. Okay, when the antibodies has to be released, how much differentiation of the B lymphocytes should be done. Okay, how many B lymphocytes has to be released, how many antibodies has to be released. Okay, where it has to be released. So secondary lymphoid organs will decide that. Examples are your spleen, your tonsils, your lymph nodes, appendix. Okay, they all are the part of your secondary lymphoid organs. So if the infection has come through food poisoning, okay, if the infection has come through food poisoning, the lymph nodes that are present in the intestine, like Peyer's patches, appendix, they will be more active. Okay, if the foreign body, if the infection is coming from the upper respiratory system, your tonsils, your lymph nodes near your neck, okay, your auxiliary lymph nodes, they will be more active. Okay, so based on which area where the interaction between the lymphocytes, where the war between the antibody and antigen has to take place, it is determined by the secondary lymphoid organs. And then you have the tertiary lymphoid organs. So these are the organs which contains very less number of lymphocytes, but they play a very important role whenever there's an inflammation. Okay, so whenever you are suffering from actively right now, if you're suffering from an inflammation, that area acts as a tertiary lymphoid organ. Okay, because if you are undergoing an infection somewhere in your body you have an infection, that area will act as a tertiary lymphoid organ, because right now wherever you have inflammation or infection, a lot of lymphocytes have gathered there to take care of the situation. Okay, so that area also acts as a tertiary lymphoid organ. Or wherever you have tumor, cancerous tumor or benign tumor, wherever you have this, that area also acts as a tertiary lymphoid organ, because for a time being, a lot of lymphocytes have gathered there to assess the situation, to take care of the situation. Okay, so these are the three primary areas of lymphoid organs. So that's about immunity and infection. I hope your basic doubts regarding the topic is cleared. If you have any queries, you can put in the chat box.